Well, in your consumer news now, major headlines in the business world this week. The Federal Reserve lowered interest rates for a third time Wednesday, dropping its benchmark lending rate by a quarter point. And also, of course, a huge announcement of a major potential acquisition that could have huge implications for the entertainment industry. So here to break down what these headlines mean for borrowers heading into the new year, people who love going to the movies, is the Dallas Business Journal's editor-in-chief, Will Anderson. Will, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What a week.
Big week, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to get right into it. Let's just start with this week's lowered interest rate from the Federal Reserve. Again, the third time this year we've seen a cut. What are the key factors that the Fed's used to make this decision? And can you walk us through the kind of ideological divide that we see here?
So the Federal Reserve's mandate is to keep employment up, right, and keep prices stable, which right now means keeping a lid on inflation. So, yeah, as you're alluding to, there's kind of these two factions based on what they think is the priority right now. And this year, with 3 different rate cuts, the faction that thinks that boosting employment has been winning out. So it's almost a almost a full percentage point that the rate's been lowered this year, and it's shown that they've, that's kind of been the power, the group in power. For next year, the consensus is kind of only 1 interest rate cut, kind of near the beginning of the year. So it might not be dropping much further.
So when we talk about, everyday Americans, people at home who are watching, who are maybe going into the new year with goals, wanting to buy a home, borrowers, just overall finances, what does this mean for them?
The thing is that there's no real big swings right away when the cut happens, right? It's already kind of priced in by the market, meaning they expected this to happen. Rates have already been adjusted. But with 3/4 of a percentage point lowered in the past year, long-term borrowing costs have come down. I think the 30-year mortgage rate is around 6.2% right now. It started the year around 7%. So it hasn't changed that much. And we are a long way away and probably will never anytime soon be back in that 3 or below mortgage rate level. But yeah, long-term borrowing rates are coming down. It's becoming easier for companies to borrow and thus stimulate investment, hopefully job creation. That's a good thing. But yeah, you're not really seeing much impact yet if you're trying to borrow money for something.
So is the takeaway here, you're not going to see these huge change, but still a positive sign?
Yeah, and that the economy looks stable. And of course, the thing the Fed is worrying about when they're doing this is that they don't want to cut it too much so that inflation then roars its head. Everyone's been dealing with higher prices at the grocery store, et cetera. So they're trying to walk that line. It's not always clear which side is going to win out, which way it's going to veer. But overall, the economy, it looks solid heading into 2026. So yeah, that's a good thing if you were looking to make a big decision like that.
Yeah, welcome news for Americans.
There you go.
All right, let's pivot to the other big headline. We just talked about this. The major announcement, Paramount launching a bid for Warner Brothers Discovery just days after Netflix strikes a deal to acquire the company. What is at stake here?
Right, so you have like 2 competing bids, right? And whoever wins out, it'll be a giant media conglomerate, right? And if it's Paramount, you've got so many kind of classic properties. Netflix is the biggest streamer, basically. So are you going to get, more Harry Potter on Netflix? Like, are you going to get, I saw someone alluding to the chance of maybe you'll get a giant studio like Warner Brothers, huge movie catalog, teaming up with Netflix. But instead of putting it up free for everybody right now, they create just a new tier of Netflix where you pay more for this huge movie catalog. Who knows? No one really knows. But yeah, you'll have to see how this plays out in the regulatory process, especially because will there be concerns over a deal like that creating too big of a media giant?
I literally had a physical reaction to the idea of paying for another
Shudder, right?
Streaming, like another one. There is one group, and we were talking about this earlier, that, when you get on social media and see responses to this, the folks who really love going to the movies, especially after the pandemic, who really just kind of want to keep that space really pure, who are really, really excited about that and love that, concerned about what this could mean for movie theaters and seeing movies in that space.
Yes, Netflix obviously has had a huge rise, right? Huge ascendance, and I get how that's uncomfortable, and I love the cinema too. But a lot of movie studios have been on the opposite end, have been ailing and trying to figure out if it's not some kind of superhero blockbuster, what kind of movies are going to make money, and that's been a struggle. So they're looking for safe places to land, places they can hitch themselves to. If you're going to hitch yourself to a company that's making money and gives you the resources to invest in films, Netflix seems like a pretty good landing spot.
And my last question for you, we have a few seconds left. The president weighing in on this on social media, could this sway the way that this goes?
Yeah, potentially. Look, I think that there are questions to be raised that President Trump has raised about whether this is a good thing for the consumer and what that's going to mean. But a lot of people see it as meddlesome when the president's talking about a problematic deal being too big. I think a lot of people see that as kind of a step too far, kind of interference on his part.
All right, major week in business news, and there's so much more to get into. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
And if you would like to read more about these stories, just head over to the Dallas Business Journal's website.